A young hedgehog, curious about the world around him, gets lost in New York City, far from his home on a Christmas tree farm. That is a story mapped out in a new children's book called Hugzbie's Christmas Adventure. The book was written by Mary Shepard, who spent more than 2 decades as a pediatric nurse.
Shepard grew up in Maine. Her job called her away, but she and her husband planned to retire back here where her family was. She never got to. In fact, Mary Shepard never saw the final copy of her children's book. She lost her battle with breast cancer this past June at the age of 57.
Her family made sure her dream to inspire children continued through her story. We sat down with her sister-in-law, Terry, and her mother, Marilyn Mahaner.
She was a remarkable person, really, right from the beginning. She became an RN at age 19. And she began her work with children down in Shands Hospital in Florida. And that was her love of her life. She liked caring for little children and enjoyed her work tremendously for as long as she was able to do it.
What was it about children?
I don't know. She began as babysitting, when she was very young. And she just had a good way with children, loved them, and particularly the sick children. She was able to bring a little joy to them.
Terry, she was diagnosed very young, 39 years old, and she fought this battle for a long time. But when she finally knew that the end was coming, it sounds like she took her own life into her own hands and she said, I'm going to live it. What was the legacy she leaves behind to you?
I think the biggest message that I would take away from this is just to do that, live every day like it's your last, and celebrate each day.
Obviously, she had a love for children. She wrote this book, Hugzbie's Christmas Adventure. She was not a writer, but what inspired her to write this?
Well, she knew it was something that she could do to still give to children, even though she wasn't physically able to work with them herself, and she knew it was something that she could do when she was feeling good, and when she wasn't, she could put it down for a little bit. So that's where it came. And Mom was her editor, which really brought the two of them, gave them a combined venture, something they could work on together.
Marilyn, how long had she been working on this book?
Well, I would say possibly 3 years. She had it in her mind, but it took a while, for the story was the easy part, but getting the publishing and the illustrations together, illustrations to fit the story, so it took a while. And I think she fully expected to have it completed before she died, but that wasn't possible because it was a long battle with her cancer, and the closer it got to the end, the more difficult it became. So we all became involved in it.
You mentioned she never got to see the final product, which is great. The illustrations are wonderful. The story is wonderful. When you saw the final product, how did you feel?
Well, we loved it. What did happen was Lorraine Day, who was the illustrator, she made a sample book. She had the coloring done halfway through, but she published the book as it was with the remainder of the coloring not done. So we had that quickly, a sample book put together, so she was able to see that part of it. And there's a nice picture of her in the hospital. Virgil brought her the book, that's her husband, and she was able to look at it when she was in the hospital.
Hugzbie is a hedgehog who gets lost along the way and with the help of friends finds his way back. But what did she want children to take from this book?
The love of your family, that you can always go out, but it's always okay, and a good thing that you can come back to your family.
She was inspired by children, but what did she want to inspire in children?
Oh, I think possibly not a fear of what's out there. Look at it as a sense of adventure and the family, coming back to the family. And that was what she wanted, I think.
Mary obviously leaves behind quite a legacy, and she had a message for women, other women, to be their own advocate through their own struggles. What do you want people to really remember about Mary?
But she could be extremely funny, yeah. And I think that would be it. Kind, funny, focused on other people, not necessarily her problem and herself.
Thank you to the Mahaners for coming in, and all of the proceeds from Hugzbie's Christmas Adventure will benefit St. Jude's Children's Hospital in honor of Mary Shepard.